Spending power was very limited in families. Very middle class setup. So that is my first 6 months of my job. I came down from 18,000 to 11,000. So my family never had a house. So we decided that we should have a house. So the share market में जो पैसा डाला था, that money we pulled out. MS have outperformed in last 10 years the mutual funds. It actually has triggered in me another investment thesis. I'll talk about it now. I can say 25 CR बनाना है. आदमी को हमेशा थोड़ा एक होना चाहिए humble. The system that we call is very important.
Given lectures in IIT recently.
Or you're doing a job. If you're doing a job, what are the options for you? My heart, as a Junjanwala कहते थे, you believe in India, then invest. And I was into that Chakravyuh. That was eye opener for you. जो आपके मार्केट का 20 plus का P चलता रहेगा अगर. I became more thematic investor. I also invest in unlisted stock. I've started doing some angel investing.
Do you believe in fire?
मेरे को नहीं समझ में आता what is retire early. Financially independent part I understand. I even got 10x kind of investments, but I realized that those things doesn't help. It doesn't change my life. There is only one equation that can change your life. So I'm not used to podcast, but I'll try to be what I can tell you. So I'm almost 44 now. Belong to Delhi. I did a schooling. I hopped through different cities and states, multiple schools. So this is pre-90s era when India was still not open market. So typically in those days, spending power was very limited in families. Effectively, very middle class setup. Only one thing that parents focused on, only one way out of this trap of lower middle income is you invest in education. So that is one thing they invested in. I still remember that 12th grade, I was preparing for engineering and the awareness level was so low that I didn't know about how to go about IT exams. My approach was very simple at that point in time. There is one college, DC, I had to get into, apply for entrance exams, made it DC. I was lucky, maybe. So 2003, I graduated out. I joined my first job, power sector, 18,000 salary. In those days, I think it was a decent salary, 2003. Within 2 months, I didn't like the job. I hopped. I joined a German MNC at a salary of 15K. And within 2 months, I didn't like that either. So I joined another job. I went into IT. I did not know anything about software, but I moved to IT, Silicon Valley of India, Bangalore, at a salary of 11,000 rupees per month. So that is my first 6 months of my job. I came down from 18,000 to 11,000.
11,000. That's what I was thinking कि ये उल्टा हो रहा है. Normally increase के लिए jump लेते हैं, आपने ये कम salary में भी jump लिया.
मज़ा नहीं आ रहा था. तो मज़े के लिए यहाँ आए. And when I came to Bangalore, within 2 months, I called my father. मज़ा नहीं आ रहा. He told me it doesn't matter. Don't come back home. So I stayed put in Bangalore. My investment journey began with that only. And I remember that we used to stay in shared apartments. But still, I think at least 50% of my salary I was able to save in those days. And I was able to send money back home. But still, I think in Infosys there used to be, like big batches. हमारे cubicle were next to each other. तो मेरे लेफ्ट और राइट में दो धुरंधर थे शेयर मार्केट के. Their elder brothers, they were share market people. Infosys में एक बड़ी अच्छी पॉलिसी उन दिनों में that you can take 3 months advance salary. 15-20 days कुछ लगते थे. तो पैसा जब तक आता था IPO से पूरा मिलता नहीं, सब आता था, उसके दोबारा से 3 months की एडवांस सैलरी. You invest that into IPOs. ये चलता रहा. We made very good money. Amazing. Till the time power IPO की. That opened my eyes. मुझे तो लग रहा था ये तो मस्त रूट है. You make money from this. One after another, we were doubling it. At that time, I think 2000, my other investment started in 2005. So my family never had a house. So we decided that we should have a house. So the share market में जो पैसा डाला था, that money we pulled out to pay the down payment of the house.
How was the feeling in family?
The family is emotional. Now people talk about in the hindsight, had you invested in capital market, then probably it would have multiplied significantly. House तो भी 10x ही हुआ है, 7x हुआ है rather.
And
so
it's not much. It is very important because one side it is emotions and the key decision for family who is coming out of middle class, and one side it is of course capital market में डाल के grow होगा. So now if you go back and see, what do you think? It was a good decision, it was a bad decision?
है ना, hindsight तो कुछ होता नहीं है. तो डिसीजन ऐसा होता है कि उस समय आपकी ज़रूरत क्या थी. उस समय आपकी ज़रूरत फैमिली की थी, इमोशनल थी. If you ask me today, if I go back to the same situation, I'll do the same thing. But I'm knowing capital market is the better idea to invest in. You need house, you buy the house. It's not that I'm investing in real estate. It's a house I'm buying for a family. As simple as that. So that's the right decision. Now, did I make the right returns? Did I make the right returns on it? No. At that time, I was thinking I'm very smart. I'm saving tax. हमारे ATC के अंदर वो आता था. And for years. And दूसरी stupidity that I did, and that is that I decided that awareness नहीं थी ना. Awareness. That what we did is that we invested in the house and we took the maximum loan to keep the EMI low. एंड फॉर फर्स्ट 5 6 वी डिसाइडेड यार नहीं करते, एंड दोज टाइम्स आपका इंटरेस्ट रेट भी ऊपर नीचे होता था, यू हैव टू गो टू द ब्रांच टू चेंज इट, द फ्लोटिंग पार्ट. So all these things, it's a messed up transaction for me in terms of financial terms, but I think in emotional terms it's the right transaction to do. My journey did not stop there. I think after that I decided that I got in those days Infosys and all, they used to send you outside. So I think I went out sometime in 2005-6. I went to US. I spent some time there. Unfortunately for me, at that time exchange rate was only 35 rupees and salaries were also not so high. So आज के टाइम में जितना लोग बचा पाते होंगे उस टाइम में उतना नहीं बचा पाए. While I did all that, दिल में एक कसक थी, and that was that MBA नहीं करा. My college mate from DC, they were preparing for GMAT and all, which I was not aware of कि GMAT क्या होता है. तो कोचिंग कभी ली नहीं थी, ना इंजीनियरिंग की एंट्रेंस की ना MBA एंट्रेंस की. Then I went to US. US में I decided that नहीं GMAT देना है. I picked some books from the library, started studying. In US I applied for GMAT. I scored decently well, and then I applied for a couple of colleges in India, IMC and ISB. God's grace, I got offer from both. I decided to join ISB, and दिमाग में फिर एक हमारे कुछ था, हमें finance करना है, तो I decided to major in finance and strategy.
Yeah, MBA in finance. How come engineering to finance? What triggered that?
मेरे IT कंपनी में थे, वहाँ we were doing a very good software programming, we were doing excellent, and some fine day some MBA came there. He was given a higher position than us. हमने कहा इनमें क्या अलग है जो हमारे अंदर नहीं है. कॉम्पिटिटिव स्पिरिट थी, तो हमने कहा MBA करेंगे. तो वी थॉट विल डू MBA. आफ्टर दैट यू नो 2008 के बाद क्राइसिस था फाइनेंशियल का, बट स्टिल व्हेन वी वर ग्रेजुएटिंग फ्रॉम ISB वी रियलाइज कि हमारे साथ 300 तो CA बैठे हुए हैं फाइनेंस में जाने के लिए. तो इट इज स्ट्रगल, बट स्टिल वी हार्ड फुट एंड वेंट इनटू फाइनेंस. उसके बाद फाइनेंस में एंट्री ले ली, एंड देन आई मूव continued in finance. Within finance, if you ask financially what was my journey, is that 2010 major events happened in life. I got married, I graduated out of B school, and I joined a bank, and I moved to Mumbai. So all this happened all together. So within this, if you see the piece, is very simple. If you understand, Bombay वाले शायद समझते होंगे, आप यू आर नॉट इन मुंबई, बट मुंबई में एक एरिया है आपका, शुरू होता है विले पार्ला, बैंड्रा. बैंड्रा इज राइट नेक्स्ट टू BKC, द फाइनेंशियल हब. वहाँ से चलते चलते अंधेरी जाते हैं, अंधेरी के आगे आपका गोरेगांव आता है, फिर कांदिवली आता है, फिर बोरीवली आता है. तो आई वेंट देयर वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट, सैलरी लेके. मैंने कहा यहाँ तो मैं बैंड्रा में रहूँगा, एंड आई रियलाइज मेरा बजट था. आई एंडेड अप इन कांदिवली. सो दैट वाज आई ओपनर फॉर यू, विच टेल्स यू दैट व्हाट इज़ योर परचेजिंग पावर. कि आप जो दिल्ली में बैठ के कर रहे हो, आप जो हैदराबाद में बैठ के कर रहे हो, बट आपका परचेजिंग पावर तो मुंबई में आके समझ में आ रहा कि वेयर डू यू स्टैंड. आई थिंक दैट इज द फर्स्ट पॉइंट फॉर मी टू लर्न इनटू फाइनेंशियल वर्ल्ड.
योर ट्रिगर विच स्टार्टेड, अगर आप IPO की जर्नी की याद करें, तो उसके बाद फिर यू इन्वेस्टेड इन योर हाउस. देयर यू स्टॉप इन योर फाइनेंशियल मार्केट, इन स्टॉक मार्केट, और यू कंटिन्यूड फ्रॉम देयर ऑन?
नहीं, वहाँ ख़त्म नहीं हुआ. बहुत पेनफुल जर्नी इन्वेस्टमेंट की हमारी. IPO वाला था, वो एग्जिट कर दिया, वो एग्जिट गलती हो गई. फिर हमने क्या, US चले गए, और US में जाके वो उस समय ओबामा और हिलरी क्लिंटन का इलेक्शन चल रहा था. हम बड़े ऑप्टिमिस्टिक थे वहाँ पे. विद माई ऑप्टिमिज्म आई डिसाइडेड लेट्स गो आफ्टर द मार्केट्स. वहाँ के एकदम से अपन ICICI डायरेक्ट में उस समय अकाउंट खुलवा के वी वर एक्टिवली डूइंग ट्रेडिंग. सडन फाइन डे 2008 क्राइसिस, मार्केट फेल डाउन 5%, 10%, 15%. I went after every 10%, 15%, 20%. I went all in.
Over 16%. Dow at the same time has fallen about 18%. The stock market is now down 21%.
Because we're now down 43%.
Market went down 50%. तो 50% मार्केट वेंट डाउन. प्राइस तो वापस आ जाएगा, बट कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं आया वापस. दिस कॉन्फिडेंस वेंट विद इट. सो आई थिंक the learning for me was be careful, distribute your wealth, do the asset allocation right. बट वो हाइंडसाइट मारा है, उस समय नहीं था. उस समय था कि मार्केट अपने लिए है नहीं, बोरे इस तरह बांधो, एग्जिट द मार्केट. तो आई एग्जिटेड द मार्केट
अराउंड 2008-9 टाइम.
नहीं, उसमें हमने एडमिशन ले लिया MBA कॉलेज में. तो MBA कॉलेज का हमें फिर फीस पे करना था, तो फीस पे करने के लिए हमने ये ले लिया, कुछ लोन ले लिया. तो आई एग्जिटेड द मार्केट. नट चला, आई एग्जिटेड द मार्केट एट लो, एंटर्ड एट हाई, डेलिंक्विश्ड ऑल माई कैपिटल. तो US वगैरह सब घूमना कामना हो गया ख़राब अपना. दैट इज़ वेरी सैड. सो व्हेन आई केम आउट ऑफ ISB और MBA, इफेक्टिवली you are left with education loan. an education loan for a salary in Mumbai. Then also I decided, I took one more important decision. We decided that we'll enter into some real estate business. We wanted to purchase a land to get into construction. I took a personal loan. I took double personal loan.
Okay.
So right after my marriage, my liabilities or my payouts, monthly payouts, were 30% more than my salary. So I was dipping into what I had, and I was into that Chakravyuh that you call it. So I think these are some very wrong decisions that individual has taken, which in hindsight I can learn, I can tell people. But had I not taken those decisions, life could have been very different. I could have been, multiplier effect could have been significantly high for me. So effectively my story in the market started from 2011.
So आपका जो business आपने शुरू किया construction का, where did it go? आपने loan लिया,
It went down. We exited at loss, but we paid off the personal loan. Liability went down. But I tell you, I remember interesting. I tell you the story कि वहाँ पे in those days I नई नई शादी होती है ना, हम लोग मूवी देखने जाते थे.
जी जी.
एंड मूवी देखने के पैसे तो उतना सेविंग हम कर रहे थे, बट पैसे फिर भी नहीं बचते थे. वी डिसाइडेड कि कैसे करें. आई एम गिविंग एन एग्जांपल बिकॉज समटाइम्स पीपल आर नॉट अवेयर कि हाउ दे कैन सेव. आई रियलाइज दिस सक्सेस हेल्प मी. फर्स्ट आई टुक अ क्रेडिट कार्ड. उस क्रेडिट में मिलती थी 1 movie plus 1 movie फ्री एवरी ट्यूजडे. सो आई टुक दैट क्रेडिट कार्ड. तो वी वेंट टू ट्यूजडे ऑन द मूवीज. बट देन रियलाइज खर्चा फिर भी हो रहा है. एक दिन माई वाइफ एंड वी सेट डाउन, वी कैलकुलेटेड कहाँ खर्चा हो रहा है. वी रियलाइज कि मूवी की टिकट पे तो 400 रुपये खर्चा हो रहा था, लेकिन खाने पे, टैक्सी पे, सब मिला के 2000 रुपये खर्चा हो रहा था. सो वी आर वॉचिंग वीकली मूवीज. तो 8000 रुपये तो यहाँ जा रहे थे. वी क्विकली टुक ए डिसीजन. वी डिसाइडेड दैट शुड नॉट ईट आउटसाइड, स्पेशली अनहेल्दी फूड. वी आर नॉट गेनिंग आउट ऑफ इट. यू सेव मनी एंड वेरी स्मॉल अमाउंट. यू विल नॉट बिलीव वट अमाउंट आई स्टार्टेड RD. You understand the RD instrument,
Yeah.
right?
Recurring
deposit. The basic instrument I started. Only purpose was one, because I decided that there is only one equation that can change your life, which is what is your output? Is your output saving or is your output expense? So is saving is equal to income minus expenses, or is your expense is equal to income minus savings?
Saving investment.
So I wanted to shift towards the second one. Income minus savings is your expense. You save on day one and you put into RD. Mutual fund में लोग कहते हैं डालना चाहिए था. I was a financial professional. I'll tell you again why I did not do it. But the point is that this RD habit, it put me in a zone where I can save gradually. 8,000, 10,000, 20,000 rupees you can save gradually. I'm talking about 2011, 2010, that time period. And then this money you can pull out at lump sum and pay out your loans. It did not give me returns, but it put in a process. And process, I emphasize on process. That due to process, I was able to pay back the loans and liabilities. It bit into a discipline into my life.
I'm glad you mentioned this statement because our last video was exactly, our last shot was exactly on the same statement. It is a life-changing moment because आप start कर रहे हैं 23, 24, 25 पर, जहाँ हम normally बोलते हैं यार 500 rupees save नहीं हो सकता है, 1000 rupees we are not able to save, but there if you start saving first, investing first, it makes a big difference. 2013, one of my friends just started investing in mutual fund. With just by someone told him, तो उसने start कर दिया. It's just started with 1000, 1500, 4-5 funds. Slowly he kept increasing. His total wealth right now is 75 lakh.
Wealth always works like that. You never know. These days, I think probably excitement plays a big role in everyone's life. People want to get excited, do FNOs, do trading, do all this. But if you want to create wealth, it can be created only in a dull and boring way.
FNO, the moment you said, do you invest in FNO?
हमने सब करा है. So my journey is that I started fundamental investment first. I think one thing that I have always made sure in my life is that learning stop नहीं होनी चाहिए. और आदमी को हमेशा थोड़ा एक होना चाहिए हम्बल. हम्बल का मतलब है आप पहले मान के चलो कि गलती करी है. आई थिंक हम फंसते कहाँ हैं, मैं शुरुआत में कहाँ फंसा. आई टेल यू वेयर आई मिस्ड आउट. इफ समवन आस्क्स माय मिस्टेक, आई ऑलवेज टेल माय मिस्टेक इज दैट my ego. I realized it. I realized it. I still realize it. Still I play on that, but थोड़ा consciousness है. तो when from engineer tier 1 college, MBA tier 1 college, आप बाहर आए working in finance, तो अपने आप को समझ लगा कि finance का expert. तो we decided हमसे अच्छा कोई है ही नहीं, तो हमें किसी expert की input चाहिए ही नहीं. Mutual fund advisor कौन है हमें पता नहीं है, हमें जानना भी नहीं है. हमने कहा हम खुद डिसाइड कर लेंगे mutual fund कौन सा बेटर है. लेकिन हम खुद डिसाइड कर लेंगे. मैं आई नीड टू गेट इनसाइड, आई नीड टू बेंचमार्क द म्यूचुअल फंड्स, आई हैव टू स्टडी दैम. एंड वहाँ हम प्रोक्रेस्टिनेशन करते रहे कि कल करेंगे, परसों करेंगे, समझ लेंगे, थोड़ा नहीं समझेंगे, नहीं कर पाए, लाइफ चलती रही. तो आप जो इफ़ यू आर नॉट रेडी टू आउटसोर्स सम ऑफ द थिंग्स एंड ड्यू टू पॉसिटी ऑफ टाइम यू प्रोक्रेस्टिनेट, the absence of process, absence of discipline, and ego in your mindset, it will take you down because you won't be able to act. Execution जो है, execution अगर नहीं आती तो I believe that knowledge, education कुछ नहीं कर सकता. तो एग्जीक्यूशन कैसे आएगी? एग्जीक्यूशन को लाने के लिए कभी कभी एक्सपर्ट इनपुट्स की ज़रूरत पड़ती है, या फिर कोई भी जो आपसे पहले कर चुका हो एंड उसके साथ आप बैठ के काम करो. मेरा ध्यान है, आई टुक फंडामेंटल इन्वेस्टमेंट वेरी लेट 2013-14, क्योंकि उससे पहले तो आई वाज सेइंग कि मुझे आता है, मैं इन्वेस्ट कर रहा हूँ.
2003 के करीब यू स्टार्टेड योर जर्नी एंड 10 years डाउन द लाइन यू आर सेइंग
जर्नी नहीं थी वो, तो बस हमने
जॉब की
2005 में
स्टार्टिंग
आईपीओ शुरू करा.
जॉब की स्टार्टिंग
हाँ, जॉब
जॉब की स्टार्टिंग 2003 से करी एंड 10 years यू टुक वेयर यू स्टार्टेड डूइंग थिंग्स बाय योरसेल्फ, जो थोड़ा बहुत करते रहे,
प्रोसेस नहीं था,
प्रोसेस के बिना करते रहे. एंड आई थिंक फ्यू पॉइंट्स यू मेंशनड एंड दैट्स व्हाई आई वांट टू इंटरप्ट यू. प्रोक्रास्टिनेशन, very important point. Maximum of us actually go ahead and fail due to procrastination. आज करना है, कल कर लूँगा, हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस लेनी है, ले लेंगे, और उसके बाद जब 40-45 के हो जाते हैं फिर कोई ना कोई डिसीज आ जाती है, उसके बाद हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस वैसे ही हमें आराम से नहीं मिलता. डिसिप्लिन, कंसिस्टेंसी, सो बहुत क्रिटिकल वर्ड्स you picked up. So you learned this different way, very hard way which I learned. Okay, so you did FNO, but you didn't do mutual fund. Is there some reason?
Because I think I'm too good. I can directly invest in the market. So why should I go to mutual fund and pay fee to someone? I did not realize that my procrastination was keeping me outside the market. If you ask me, but fundamentally, I just bring you back to the topic because you asked FNO. I will come to FNO.
Yes.
But before that, my fundamental investment started first. I'm telling you because probably my journey is backwards in many ways. The way people today start. My journey was that I started fundamental 2014, and that too because one of my junior, he had a good friend who was still junior, and he right now is a financially independent person.
Wow.
Is respected by the investor community across India. He was called Dr. Stock. Doctor because he was a doctor. At one time he used to practice in Tihar jail, and then he joined a bank, and then he became fundamental investor, and then he started teaching people a philosophy of peaceful investing. And Professor Bakshi from MDI Gurgaon, he named him Dr. Stock because he's a doctor. He knows how to do the stock analysis in detail. It's a fantastic guy. I picked it from him. At that time, I started doing some investments, but at that time the kind of investment I was doing, okay, 3 lakh here, 2 lakh here, 1 lakh here, that kind of investment, depending on whatever money is, invest here and there. I was trying to probably prove my ability to evaluate and value my thesis, but that was also not the right process for me to invest because I was still investing here and there, and just that things worked out for me is a different thing, but my approach was not right in fundamental investment. Gradually I concentrated my investment. I became more thematic investors. I love macros. I'm a student of economics and I love macroeconomics, and I really play with the themes and theories that I believe in. In recent example, if you see, is that in sugar industry is always cyclical. I used to look at that industry closely, but when ethanol story came in, I was quite sure that it is something that can bring out sugar from the cyclical industry to maybe more a different kind of approach, because these cash flows will be very different. This is a high margin business, so the payment terms will improve. I quickly call a couple of people who I know in the sugar, big sugar mills. I do that kind of investing approach, and I went into that sugar industry. I made money there.
Process बहुत defined नहीं था और अब process ज़्यादा defined किया है. So what were those changes that you did?
एक तो मैं बहुत fundamental level पे सोचता हूँ अभी. पहले मैं बहुत mathematical सोचता था.
Okay.
Earlier I was like Excel sheet. Look into financial, look into this, look into that, understand this. Now that is one of the criteria for me. But for me now, I think it's more story-based investments, thematic investments, as I mentioned. And second step that I have taken is if I am able to study very carefully. Earlier I was taking a smaller bites into those companies. Because I was taking smaller bites into those companies, it was growing. I was getting 2x, I even got 10x kind of investments, but I realized that those things doesn't help. It doesn't change my life. It helps me only one thing. It tells me that okay, you are good, pat me on the back, that's it, end of day. It doesn't help me. Now I realize that when I'm taking an investment, I should be very convinced about it. I'm ready to take the risks, I am ready to back myself, but at the same time, I should be confident enough to take a larger bite. My question to myself is that will this change my life? Today, considering where my portfolio is, if I take 2 lakh, 3 lakh bet, 5 lakh bet here and there, I do not think it will change my life. I had this psychology even 10 years earlier. I had started with that psychology. So I had grown with that psychology now. So it's just that the portfolio is relatively bigger. So my size has increased. The psychology is still the same. I give you a very simple example is that if you have a stock and it increases by 10%, if you have 1 lakh rupees in your portfolio, how much will it increase by 10%? 10,000 rupees. But you will rejoice. You will say it increased 10%. But you just make this 1 lakh 1 CR, and if that is 1 CR portfolio and increase by 10%, 10 lakh. So in a day when you're saying 10% is moving 10 lakh, then you say okay. But the time reaches, if your portfolio increases by that much, that movement also doesn't affect you, to be honest. At 5 lakh, 10 lakh, ऊपर नीचे हो रहा है, it doesn't.
Because your corpus percentages wise is almost.
Not only that, but I don't know what it is. I am not able to define it. But somewhere, because I'm a very boring or dull investor, even if that goes down by 5%, and if the story is continuing per my thesis, I will not exit that position. I do not exit, enter again and again, because my current work profile is that I'm not able to dedicate time myself. Actually, what I've done as part of my process consciously over last few years is that my better half, I am trying to engage her and try to get execute through her.
Oh, very good.
It is very good that if you're at dinner table, if you're discussing with the same wavelength on the same investment, awareness is coming in the family, it actually builds up a ecosystem at home also.
That's exactly what I was feeling. The kind of discussions now you guys will have at home
Smarter than us.
any given day. But with this one important point which I want to bring out, he has mentioned the numbers. It all depends upon your current situations as well. For him, it's a number on which it's not life changing or it's changing big time. But fundamental investment, if you are studying and then investing, starting. What do you think? Is starting small is good enough versus waiting and starting big?
I think waiting is not good. As simple as that. I tell you that if you have not started investing, invest right now. If you just pick up mutual funds, and if you, depending on your age profile, do research, so just invest there. Start the discipline. एक बार पैसा लग जाएगा, आपके अंदर शिद्दत आ जाएगी, आप उसे रिसर्च करना शुरू कर दोगे. But research करना is important. But one thing I tell you, interesting phenomena happened in my life also is this ego I told you about, right? The ego that I know it all. It has played against me. But over last decade or so, I have got better of it. In 2015, I was outside India and I engaged a financial advisor. And again, it comes down to process. That guy asked me questions. He sent me Excel sheet. He asked me questions after questions, and I can tell you that I did not know what I have, where I have. That entire exercise, engaging a financial advisor, and he did not, if he only advisor, I think he did not have an interest in making me do the trades and buying stuff. So it's a one time, right? So there are two kind of advisors, like fee only advisors and the advisors who take on commissions. So this I'm talking about the fee only advisors. So that guy told me what is your salary, what are your PPF, what is your VPF, what is your wife's account, how many accounts do you have, how much money do you have in those accounts, which mutual funds you have invested in, what is your planning, how many kids do you have, and how many kids are you planning, and what kind of investments, what kind of forecast expenses for those kids are, how far away their marriage is, etc., etc., etc. He asked me so many questions. It got me only one thing. I tell you, it's very important for everyone to understand is that मैं कहता हूँ एक बार हर किसी को एक्सरसाइज कर लेनी चाहिए. अपने आप से मैं तो नहीं कर पाया, लेकिन when I engage with him, it helped me, it forced me into a thinking mode. It helped me to understand कि पहले तो पैसा कहाँ है. Then it came right in front of me. I was not even aware where I'm keeping my money. And second thing is, lot of money was sitting in the banks. That realization hit me. In subconsciousness, probably it was there. Okay, पैसा यहाँ वहाँ लगा हुआ है. When collectively it came out in an Excel sheet, and then when I saw that if I shift all my money into that 9% bucket, and if I the other way around shift all that 9% into this 13, 14, 15% bucket where I'm earning, what is the impact going to come in 5 or 10 years for me? That was life changing for me. There are 2 or 3 ways you can think about it. People can do this calculation at their end, is that you take maybe a corpus of 2 CR. You take a corpus of 10 CR. I'm just saying CR, otherwise you can take lakh also.
Yeah.
Same thing on lakhs
Situation.
also. Situation.
Individual situation.
And this, you take two cases, you increase it by 10%, increase it by 15% in 5 years. Okay. And then you will realize 10 CR, probably, if I'm not wrong, I think if it increases by 14-15%, it should in 5 years become somewhere around 17 to 18 CR. Whereas 2 CR, I think, can become in the range of 3.5 CR. So this is the impact of size of portfolio.
I understand.
The size of portfolio impact,
makes a big difference.
but size will not come from day one. For you to reach that size, you need to start somewhere. If you don't start, you will never reach there. So you need to cover that journey and then you go. This is typically what people call slow way to make money. There is a fast way to make money also. I'm reading an interesting book recently. There's a faster way to make money. Faster way to millionaire is the book name. Which says that अपना business start करो, millionaire बन जाओ. So that is also a good way to become millionaire. Chances are low, but once you hit. And you need to do right way. The slow way is this. Another way to make money, I think, is that I've realized is that what are you working for? Now, either you are doing a business or you are doing a job. If you're doing a job, what are the options for you? You have options that you work for salary, option that you work for salary plus bonus, option that you work for salary plus bonus plus ESOPs. You take stock options. So I think salary doesn't make people wealthy. It may make you rich. Wealthy नहीं बनाएगा is what I believe. Wealthy बनने के लिए तो आपको ownership चाहिए. And when the company grows, you will grow. Which comes not from bonus, not from salary, it comes only from share options. A lot of startups offer these days, a lot of old companies also offer you these days. So if you want to really become wealthy, look into it and be conscious, take conscious decision, okay, should I choose a salary which is giving me 3 lakh versus 2 lakh per month, or the one which is giving me maybe 1.8 lakh instead of 2 lakh, but it is giving me stock options which has a chances to grow. So bet on that growth journey. When I was growing up, probably I was told job karo, salary lo, bonus, uske aage ka pata tha nahi. But I realized ESOPs is something that makes you wealthy. Actually, I tell you one more interesting thing is that which I have some beliefs, very core beliefs. I think कि ये belief होना बहुत ज़रूरी है. तो मेरा एक belief है कि हम लोग जैसे पैसे के बारे में सोचते हैं ना, पैसा हमारे बारे में वैसे ही सोचता है. आप सोचोगे पैसा जो है इस गलत चीज़ है कि जो अमीर है उसने गलत तरीके से कमाया है, तो पैसा आपको कभी छू के नहीं जाएगा. I think you should have a healthy relationship with money, and money is good. It helps you to buy conveniences, and you should think that making money is not bad. Making money is right, but you need to be conscious. You need to think through कि आज के टाइम में, for example, how I will think right now. If I have to decide from here, how should I decide? I've tried my hands on different things. As I told you that when you do the allocation, you do the allocation of your wealth into different assets, right? Absolutely. Typically, you talk about real estate, capital market, bullion, gold, and then you talk about maybe FDs, that instruments. I have a high risk appetite, so for me, for quite a long time, it's typically 85 to 90% markets. Okay. And recently, my you can say real estate, I purchased a small real estate, and where my allocation has changed to maybe 80% markets, maybe 10-12% real estate, and around 7 to 8% liquid, debt, bank, FDs altogether.
And I'm assuming this excludes your PF because
PF I have not considered this. Yes, PF I have not. These are all just very active allocation that we are doing, not the passive one, not PPF ones. I don't invest too much in debt. While I understand debt decently well, but I do not invest there. Probably not my cup of thing. Market is doing well for me. Now within market, I think diversification comes at a point in time. What are the instruments that you should deploy? One is you always say mutual fund, that everyone is saying mutual fund सही है. हमेशा सही नहीं हो सकता है, लेकिन म्यूचुअल फंड सही है लोग कहते हैं. बट एक म्यूचुअल फंड हो सकता है एक इंस्ट्रूमेंट. देन सेकंड इंस्ट्रूमेंट, डिपेंडिंग ऑन वेयर यू स्टैंड, कुड बी PMS. आई वाज अटेंडिंग ऑन कॉन्फ्रेंस इन विच वेयर दे सेड दैट PMS हैव आउटपरफॉर्म्ड इन लास्ट 10 years द म्यूचुअल फंड्स. सो इफ दैट इज द केस, and that actually has triggered in me another investment thesis. I'll talk about it now. If PMS is working well, and rich are using the PMS, and they are again and again going into PMS, and PMS, I saw some data in last 5 years, it has seen a CAGR of 35%. तो 35% CAGR अगर एक हो रहा है PMS में, कुछ तो सही जा रहा होगा शायद. I don't know. I have not tested it yet, but I am engaging right now on.
But I have a question to you on this, because we are actually on the way of doing our mutual fund series. When you're saying mutual funds versus PMS, isn't it that different mutual funds and different PMS? Few PMS might be doing great of 35 and few might be at 10-20%. And for audience, just to let you know that PMS normally it's पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजमेंट सर्विसेज जिसको एक एक्सपर्ट्स ही सर्विस आपको प्रोवाइड कराते हैं, प्रोवाइडेड यू गिव देम अ गुड अमाउंट टू इन्वेस्ट. आई थिंक if I'm not wrong, 20, 25,
50 lakh.
50 lakh.
Guideline, at least 50 lakh.
50 lakhs. So you have to have invest 50 lakhs and then you can invest in PMS. But it's about different individuals, different teams who are performing. Someone might be at 35% and someone might be at 20%. And especially last 5 years, if you see.
Market itself has done well.
Exactly.
But PMS, the difference in PMS and mutual fund is that PMS are more concentrated compared to mutual funds. Again, I say that one of the financial advisor told me not to go for PMS.
Okay.
He said that because PMS are concentrated. Then I sat back and realized that probably the investment advice that is coming from some financial advisor, you cannot take it straight upfront, because probably different people, different journey, different portfolios, they need to decide for themselves. So when financial advisor giving you input, you have to still think through, is the right advice or not, any which ways. But I think it applies for everything. 18-20 rule, 80-20 rule that you apply, you can apply to PMS as well. But my sense is that if you have wealth and you want to allocate wealth in different financial instruments, that can be one of the things. But in my mind, PMS probably can be one. Mutual fund certainly. I started, but I have to go big in that. But now the market is already high. I will rather go bottom up in the right stocks myself. Beyond that, I also invest in unlisted stocks.
Okay.
So that is one more thing that I explore. Then I have also started looking at, you call it for fun, for toy, or whatever you call it, but again to satisfy our intellectual hunger, I have started doing some angel investing.
I was thinking you would say Bitcoins.
बिटकॉइन अभी वहाँ नहीं पहुँचा, लेकिन बिटकॉइन एक्चुअली आज ही मैं सोच रहा था कि ये बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग फील्ड है जो हमने आई ट्राई टू बाय माय फर्स्ट बिटकॉइन इन 2012.
Oh, perfect, huh? Just think of all the investment you would have forgot.
I triggered the transaction. It did not go through. There were some issues in the process, in the bank account and all. So I could not buy that Bitcoin. Otherwise, that is the time when I thought I will go. I have realized that probably I have started and entered at the right time in many of the industries. I just had to build on it. So
I entered in crypto in 2015. And I think 16 or 17, if I'm not wrong, government came up with a rule. And at that point of time also, I never wanted to exit. But the company through which I had invested was an Indian company. And they came up that we are closing down and you need to exit.
I've also, at one time, 2020, I tried my hands on F&Os, as I was mentioning earlier. I went very far in that, relatively. Probably, I did not start doing trading. I took a training on F&Os. I started dabbling into trading myself, and then I hired a person who was managing the portfolio for derivative trade. So I gave my portfolio to him for managing into derivative. I thought that हमारे पिताजी FD में डालते थे, हमने स्टॉक में डाला है, हमारे बच्चे आगे आगे डेरिवेटिव में डालेंगे. So with that thesis, I said डेरिवेटिव भी एक बार समझना चाहिए क्या चीज़ है. Now looking at different allocation. रियल एस्टेट इज़ ऑल्सो वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग पीस. हम किसी भी चीज़ को ऐसे अकेले में नहीं देख सकते. रियल एस्टेट के अंदर भी व्हेन यू इन्वेस्ट, वेयर डू यू इन्वेस्ट? यू इन्वेस्ट इन लैंड, यू इन्वेस्ट इन प्लॉट, यू इन्वेस्ट इन कंस्ट्रक्शन, कमर्शियल, यू इन्वेस्ट इन हाउस, ऑफिस स्पेसेस.
Not REITs. REIT?
REITs इज़ वन थिंग, आई हैव नेवर डन दैट. मेरे नहीं समझ में आता वो. आजकल तो एक प्रॉपर्टीज़ को आप फ्रैक्शनलाइज करके भी बेच सकते हैं, एंड यू कैन परचेज, बिकॉज इंडियन लॉ परमिट्स दैट फिक्स्ड एसेट can be fractionalized and tokenized and sold across. So properties are coming. I have seen some warehouse deals, this and that, but I have not come across, I have not got into that side so far. But I have done is land, commercial, home, those kind of things I have dabbled in. But I think my personal opinion is if you want to make wealth in real estate, तो शायद बीघा में बात करनी चाहिए स्क्वायर फीट के बजाय. तो मैं कहता बीघा में बात करेंगे, एंटर करेंगे, स्क्वायर फीट में एग्जिट करेंगे. That's a good investment, real estate.
यू सेड मल्टीपल जगहों पे 1-1, 2-2 लाख डाल के 50,000 डाल के कुछ बड़ा चेंज नहीं आ रहा था, बट इज दैट एक्चुअली द चैलेंज ऑफ कन्विक्शन? अब आप पीछे सोच सकते हो कि यार कम अमाउंट डाला था, बट क्या पता उस टाइम पे यू डिडंट हैव दैट कन्विक्शन कि हाँ मेरी स्टडी सही है और ये बढ़ेगा ही बढ़ेगा.
Conviction was a big piece. Since capital was scarce, that was also a big piece. If I had conviction, probably I could have concentrated even with a smaller capital. So I decided to test thesis on different stocks, and gradually some worked, some did not work. But I think I agree with you, the conviction part. If you have the good conviction, now I'm investing probably slightly relatively bigger bites I'm taking. So I'm investing myself even in studying and building thesis much more carefully than what I was doing earlier. But I understand that had I instead gone to mutual fund, I could have invested the entire mutual fund into 1 or 2 or 3 mutual funds. So then I would not have to think a lot. So I think idea is that in hindsight, if you ask me, probably I should have invested in mutual funds.
प्रोवाइडेड यू नो हाउ टू सेलेक्ट द राइट म्यूचुअल, बिकॉज अभी तो सब कुछ बढ़ ही रहा है पिछले 6 साल से.
India is no growth. See, India as an economy is growing at what 8% rate. Economy is now 5th largest economy, growing at this rate. This kind of scenario will not happen again. This is the best time, I think, to make money in India, is what I believe. If you look at some data points, you think about India's population right now is what more than a combined population of Europe and US. I think Europe is around 700-800 million. US is around 350-400 million. India is right there. India's population is young. Population in other countries maturing. And right policy decision has been taken by government in the last 10 years, which is debottling India. Investments are going to flow in. I think market is going to grow, is what my fundamental belief is. So in my heart, जैसे झुंझुनवाला कहते थे कि do you believe in India? Then invest. I am a very core believer in India story. So I said that is the right time to invest. If India is going to grow, market is going to grow. हाँ, एक चीज़ है जो हम हमेशा कहते हैं कि म्यूचुअल फंड आपको 15% का रिटर्न देगा. I have a question mark on that, but वो question mark comes because when market matures and it grows to that level, जो आपके मार्केट का 20+ का पी चलता रहेगा अगर, और मार्केट का साइज़ बढ़ जाएगा, तो वो मार्केट आपको उस टाइप का ग्रोथ दे पाएगी क्या? आई हैव डाउट ऑन दैट. सो रिटर्न्स प्रॉब्ली में नॉर्मलाइज लिटिल बिट इन अ डेकेड, और मे बी पास्ट रिटर्न्स विल नॉट रिफ्लेक्ट इन फ्यूचर, बट स्टिल market is very you can say a good reflection of growth in a country. So I think because companies will grow, investments grow, the companies grow, markets grow.
तो कैसे कनेक्ट करते हैं ये? आई थिंक फॉर ऑडियंस इट विल बी क्वाइट यूजफुल, मेरे लिए भी. यू सेइंग इंडिया इज ग्रोइंग वेरी गुड, स्टॉक मार्केट इज ग्रोइंग वेरी गुड. इन मिडल यू टुक द एग्जांपल ऑफ शुगर इंडस्ट्री एज वेल एंड ethanol oil, बट हाउ एन इंडिविजुअल कैन रिलेट दीज टू? अभी एक्चुअली ये दोनों अलग लगते हैं, एक मैक्रो लगता है, एक माइक्रो लगता है. हाउ डू यू कनेक्ट दीज टू?
मेरा आई थिंक द वे आई कनेक्ट इज प्रॉब्ली वेरी लिमिटेड टू माई एक्सपीरियंसेस, माई अप्रोच ऑफ थिंकिंग. Everyone will have different approach, but I can tell you how I think. So for some example is that a country of this size, if it has to grow, then it requires a significant amount of power. So power sector should also grow. What it means for me is that if I'm taking a long term bet, say I'm not talking about tomorrow, year, 2 year, which stocks will do or not, but will power sector grow in 10 years? My belief is it is going to grow. There is no two way. Power consumption will not come down. अब उसमें ये the things that may happen is electricity, I mean solar, thermal, which sector is going to grow is a different thing. But power is going to grow. Now, if power is going to grow, then what kind of companies have a common at the horizontal in this space, which provide are they the distribution companies? Are these those kind of companies which are going to provide solution no matter whether it's a solar, whether it's a thermal power? Then I say that right now where the investment is coming, so investment coming to new solar, it's coming into sustainable, but the pricing is high. Now then I will come to then where the valuation is right. Now that I have zero down here, then I will say that okay, which are the cleanest company in terms of management, the fundamental side, which are the better companies, and then I look at the valuation. then probably I'll say that if valuation is right, then I'll buy. If not, then Tata bye bye. It's simple for me when it comes to power sector. Another sector, again, it came from today's discussion only for me, is that around 7-8 years back, my thesis was that in India, I had stayed in multiple countries like Japan, US, and Hong Kong. I saw that the premium payment in those countries, the penetration of insurance in those countries was very high. If you come to India, Indian companies started listing what in 2020, 2003, the insurance companies, I think, started listing around that point, and penetration of insurance was still low. Even today, if you talk to anyone, people, I think, unless if you really understand finance, in last 3-4 years, still people started taking insurance, but अभी उसमें भी काफ़ी मतभेद है, whether you buy the investment linked product, term insurance and all, but insurance penetration in India is low, is what I believe. So I think in last 7-8 years we have seen growth in that sector. Now I think, as I was telling to you earlier, that wealth management, PMS is growing. And PMS is growing. Also, what is growing in India is probably the HNIs. The HNIs are growing because means wealth is growing. The billionaires in India are growing. Which are the people who serve these guys? Wealth managers maybe.
Yes.
So are those wealth managers listed? If they are listed, then which are the right guys? Should I look at that? Is it a sector to look into? That is how I will think about it. I'm just telling, I'm not recommending anything. I'm not asking you to look into this and that, but I'm just telling you that this is my starting point of discussion, thought process. This is not my convergence, but this is my starting point of thought process, and then I go into that. This is my, I believe actually in peaceful way of investing. I don't want to be into something for 5, 10, 15% returns. I think I will prefer to get into investment where ideally I can get multiple, if not then at least respectable returns without trading it. So I'm ready to do some hard work there if required. नहीं तो म्यूचुअल फंड में 15% रिटर्न आएगा, वहाँ डाल देंगे हम.
So you kind of turn around if I look at it. जब आपने शुरुआत की, जब बता रहे थे फंडामेंटल इन्वेस्टमेंट और नंबर से शुरू की थी, तो अब जब आपने इनको जर्नी बताई तो एक्चुअली वो नंबर्स लास्ट में, स्टार्टिंग विद द मैक्रो, देन अंडरस्टैंडिंग the impact of macro, multiple ripple effects, and then identifying right location, managing it, identifying it, finding it right valuation company and doing it. As he mentioned, it's his way of doing the investment. Everyone can have their own investment journey. What you need to learn from this? He's doing his own research, he's reading, he's learning, and then he's going into it. एक टिप लेके स्टॉक मार्केट में इन्वेस्ट नहीं कर रहे हैं. सो दैट्स व्हाई आई कीप शेयरिंग, प्लीज डोंट गो ऑन टिप्स, खुद का रिसर्च करें, उसके बाद इन्वेस्टमेंट करो. यहाँ ये पॉडकास्ट आर गुड फॉर यू टू अंडरस्टैंड डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ वेज ऑफ इन्वेस्टिंग, डिफरेंट जर्नीज of investing, but choice should be yours.
Process, system, approach. I think these are very important. You need to decide what kind of approach you are taking, and you build a conviction on it. And once you have built a conviction, you then try to probably build on it and back it up. So in trading, they say that typically it's their algos that they develop.
Yes.
And after developing, they do the backup testing. This is something that probably I cannot do in fundamental. But in fundamental, you can do is you can analyze the reports, you can read their annual reports. I have a very interesting example for you. I have a very good friend of mine. He purchased an garment. He made a file in his home. It's a very thick file. He took the cover, वो जिसमें आपका undergarments आते हैं, वो cover जो होता है, जिसमें price लिखा होता है. He took it, he stapled on the file, and he write what price he purchased on this date. So he knows at what price, what date he's purchasing, and he looked at the quality. Year on year, he is doing that. He invested way past, I think 2010 or thereabout. This is his way of investing. Very interesting. And he showed me that file, and he saw that thickness was gradually thinning for him. And he said that the quality is going down, price is going up, the value for money is not coming. I want to exit. He took a call on that. So this is his way of investing. It's not that stock price would have gone up and down. Another way of his investment is that again around same period he went to Noida to purchase a flat, and when he purchased a flat, he saw the tiles that were being used in his flat were one of a specific company. He purchased the flat. He said, okay, these tiles are okay, do it. But then what he did is for next 2-3 days, he researched all the buildings around in Noida. So which company's tiles are being used. 70-80% were using the same company's tile. He purchased a stock of that company. It's a multiplier for him. Both these stocks are multipliers for him. Wealth generation, not making him rich, wealth creators for him. Everyone has to find their own way of understanding the value of underlying stock. But research should be there. Some thesis should be there which you can test and you can replicate. I think the process benefit is that something that you can replicate. You should not have to start your journey from each investment. Once you create a process, you will gain the confidence to double up on that. You can invest bigger with a lot of confidence, and you will repeat it again and again with confidence. This is going to grow your portfolio. So that process, the commitment, the approach, the system that we call is very important.
And through that comes the conviction through which you can increase your investment.
Correct.
So, do you believe in fire? That yes, I am on that journey, or you completely reject that approach completely?
No, you cannot reject any approach. Fire movement, as you say it, is a movement people believe in financially independent.
Yeah, retire early.
Retire early. So retire early, I don't know what it means. मेरे को नहीं समझ में आता what is retire early. Probably financially independent part I understand. I think the right way to define financially independent is that when you are in control of your time. That I think is financially independent, which means that once you believe that you have sufficient wealth, that if I want to take a maybe relaxation for 6 months, a year, start my own journey somewhere else, spend some time to think through it. अगर आप ऐसा सोच भी पा रहे हैं तो इसका मतलब आप फाइनेंशियल इंडिपेंडेंट तो एक हद तक हो गए हैं. मतलब आपके पास जो कैलकुलेशन होती है अलग अलग, आई डोंट नो व्हाट दोस कैलकुलेशन, 30 टाइम्स ऑफ योर एनुअल एक्सपेंस, 20 टाइम्स ऑफ योर एनुअल एक्सपेंस. नाउ व्हाट इज एनुअल एक्सपेंस, व्हाट इज द क्वांटम दैट यू आर लुकिंग एट. आज के टाइम में अगर कोई टीयर 2 सिटी में रह रहा है, उसका एनुअल एक्सपेंस क्या होगा अपने घर में रह रहा है तो व्हाट मे बी अराउंड 12 लाख रुपीज़, 24 लाख रुपीज़. लाइफस्टाइल
पे डिपेंड करता है.
20 lakh भी आप लेके चल लीजिए. इन 20 lakh then you are looking at 30 times of it, which is what around 5-6 CR you are looking at.
Correct.
हाँ, तो मैक्सिमम 5-6 CR. 5-6 CR से क्या आप रिटायर कर सकते हैं आज. अगेन दिस क्वांटम इज वेरी डिफरेंट. आई रियलाइज वन थिंग इज दैट हमें लगता है जब पीपल इन जॉब एट टाइम्स वी थिंक दैट 1 CR इज अ बिग अमाउंट. थिंक professionals in India are easily making more. You know one fact that more than 2.5 lakh people in India earn more than 1 CR. And this I am talking about is in white economy. You don't know how much people have. People have that wealth. Cities के अंदर हमें लगता है कि ठीक है ये 5 CR का घर इसने ले लिया, 3 CR का घर इसने ले लिया. In tier 2, tier 3 cities, purchasing plots, lands of these amount is, I think, it's a normal thing.
तो जब आप मिडिल क्लास से निकल रहे थे या फिर अभी इस जर्नी में यहाँ तक पहुँचे हैं, कभी फियर ऑफ मिसिंग आउट, फोमो हुआ?
FOMO is a constant. I think in this you watch reel, you get into FOMO. You open Instagram, you get FOMO. आपका दोस्त थाईलैंड होके आया, वहाँ से यूएस हो आया, रशिया हो आया, आप यहीं बैठे हो अभी, तो FOMO आया था कि they are enjoying their life. FOMO तो बना दिया है. What is required for us is to take stock of where we are, decide where we want to be, have a complete understanding of what we want to achieve, at least on the financial side. ये decide करना, if someone asks me what do you want to achieve in life, बड़ा मुश्किल है. But if someone asks me, ठीक है, in 5 years, 10 years, what kind of amount of wealth or net worth you want to create, वो relatively easy है. मैं बोल सकता हूँ. जरूरी नहीं मेरे को कैलकुलेशन हो, मैं बोल सकता हूँ. आई कैन से 5 CR, आई कैन से 10 CR, 20 CR, 25 CR बनाना है मुझे. वो शाहरुख खान भी बोलता है ना कि जब आप कुछ बोलते हो तो क्या क्या.
बट क्यों 10 CR 20 CR का जो नंबर आप सोच भी ले किसी ने, चले 10 साल में 5 साल में जितना कमाना है, उसके पीछे कोई तो रीज़न होगा ना, या जस्ट
ऐसा नहीं है. आई थिंक इट्स पार्ट ऑफ जर्नी. व्हेन आई वाज 2011-12 व्हेन आई वाज इन डेट, माय एम वाज डेट से बाहर निकल जाऊँ बस. मैं नौकरी छोड़ के अपना बिजनेस शुरू कर दूंगा.
ओके.
वंस आई केम आउट ऑफ इट, आई सेड 1 CR इज द लिमिट. 1 CR बन जाए देन आई विल जस्ट.
ओके.
Then once I created that, then I said I think 3 CR is more safer for me. एक goal post है which is shifting, and that shifting because probably I did not have the clarity. कि वेयर आई वांट टू गो, एंड वो क्लैरिटी इसलिए नहीं थी क्योंकि probably I did not account for the variables. So when I engaged with the financial advisor, that discussion helped me to identify the variables. Variables क्या हैं? Variables for me is that how much money do I need if I want to quit my job? Where am I standing? At what rate I am earning in different portfolios? What kind of asset allocation should I do to grow to that number? But current wealth will not take me there. So income that I am getting, the bonus I am getting, how I should allocate monthly, yearly in different portfolios so that I can reach closer to that number. This creates some system around it and gives you clarity about where you want to reach. Then you can say, okay, for example, this entire process helped me to identify मुझे insurance कितना लेना है, right? So I was deciding at that point in time that I want to buy an insurance. Insurance का मेरा बड़ा interesting है, मैं काफ़ी international travel करता था, and whenever I was traveling international, almost month में 2-3 बार international travel होता था, and international travel में क्या होता है कि हमेशा कहीं ना कहीं तो क्लाउड आ जाता है, तो थोड़ा तो जहाज हिलता है, तो व्हेन इट मूव्स मेरे को लगता है इंश्योरेंस करा लेना चाहिए था बस अभी फैमिली के लिए इंश्योरेंस करा लेना चाहिए था. सो देन आई गॉट वेरी सीरियस आफ्टर 3-4 months. आई रियलाइज कि बहुत सब करा लेनी चाहिए. देन आई स्टार्टेड गेटिंग सीरियस कैलकुलेशंस अराउंड इट. आई वेंट वेरी डीप इनटू द कैलकुलेशंस वेयर आई सेड दैट ठीक है, इसके अंदर क्लॉजेस क्या होने चाहिए एंड इंश्योरेंस का अमाउंट कितना होना चाहिए, तो मेरे एक्सपेंसेस क्या होंगे एट दैट एज व्हेन आई एम टू रिटायर, एंड देन एज पर दैट कितना मेरे को आज इंश्योरेंस ले लेना चाहिए विच विल गिव मी पीस ऑफ माइंड कि जैसा लाइफस्टाइल मैं बच्चों को चाहता हूँ जस्ट इन केस, तो क्या लाइफस्टाइल इतने अमाउंट से आएगी. आई टुक एन इंश्योरेंस, हाई प्रीमियम, राइट अमाउंट. आई जस्ट टुक एन इंश्योरेंस. प्रीमियम शायद उससे हाफ कर सकता था मैं, लेकिन वो शायद मुझे पीस नहीं देता, तो आई प्रॉब्ली ओवर पेड अ प्रीमियम, बट आई टुक ए कॉल. आई एम डन फॉर माई लाइफ ऑन दैट साइड, एटलीस्ट ऑन इंश्योरेंस साइड. इट्स अ सिंपल टर्म इंश्योरेंस, cheapest form of insurance. It's just that.
What about health insurance?
Health insurance also I have taken for the family, and outside what my organization provides.
That's exactly
So
what it was.
yes, I have. I think I recommend to everyone that they better take it before they turn 40. Anyone in the family turns 40, take it before that. Otherwise, the exclusions, the cost, all these things play very heavy on you. Buy as early as possible. Ideally, you'll pay low premium, long-term fixation, and there's nothing to lose there. But again, how much insurance do you require? Think through it. I thought that probably a right amount along with a top-up amount may be a right approach.
If you want more video on the top-up insurance and health insurance, do let us know in the comment section. But if you go in past, what are the 3 major mistakes which could have changed the way where you are?
First will be I stopped educating myself after my B school, and I assumed that I know it all. I think if I'm able to correct just that, it will correct my entire journey. But if you ask me subsequently, is that 2020 crisis is where I think I should have made real big. And despite what I've achieved, I did not, because my allocations were not right. The realization that the building up of the allocation on the right bets, it came subsequently. So I think I like to correct that. Maybe if I knew this 15-20 years back, I think I would have been more than what you call it fire. It would have been nirvana for me at least. I would have achieved what I want to achieve. And third is just stay invested in market, which I entered multiple times. Had I not exited the market, the situation was like that. So I think that if you need short-term money, don't put that in the market ideally, because you may have to exit when the market is down, as it happened with me. But if you have long-term availability of capital and you are ready to stay invested, and don't exit that capital, just be there. Don't stop your mutual fund investment, don't stop what you are doing unless you find a venue where you can invest to get better returns.
So you said stay in the market. 2008, 2020 और ऐसे ही पिछले बहुत हर 10-15 साल में एक ऐसा सिचुएशन आता है.
अब तो 7-8 साल में,
हर 7-8 साल में एग्जैक्टली. कैसे स्टे इन द मार्केट हो इंसान उस समय? अभी तो ऑफ कोर्स सबको लग रहा है यार 2020 में नहीं निकालता तो अच्छा हो जाता, 2008 में नहीं निकलता तो अच्छा हो जाता, बट एट दैट मोमेंट you are really concerned. You do not know what's going to happen next. So how to stay in the market?
इमोशंस डिसिप्लिन से आप कर सकते हो. या तो आप उसके लिए सिस्टम लगा दीजिए, म्यूचुअल फंड से इन्वेस्ट कर लीजिए, एग्जिट मत कीजिए। अगर आपको मालूम है कि आपका इन्वेस्टमेंट होराइजन लंबा है, एग्जिट मत कीजिए उसमें से। हाउ आई वुड हैव डन इट प्रॉब्ली, शायद कुछ मेरे पास एलोकेशन था, मार्केट में था, मार्केट नीचे आता, मेरे पास एक रिजर्व अमाउंट होता है which I would have further invested in the market at each fall, and I would not have repeated the mistake I did in 2008, where I did not have enough liquidity for my personal use and requirement. So probably if you are allocating the liquidity appropriately, where you are saying, okay, what am I investing? I am investing the amount I do not need for my life right now in near future. If you're investing that much amount, for example, let me put it this way, I want to my kids to go out and study in US. If that is 10-12 years away,
Yeah.
that's a goal for me, and that's a goal based investing. For that investing, option came to me, nothing against different things, that option comes to me, that Sukanya Smriddhi scheme, or do you want to invest in some other instruments? I find Sukanya Smriddhi as a debt instrument. I did not tax efficient, it's okay. But if horizon ही अगर 12 साल का है, तो मैं debt instrument में क्यों जाऊँगा? I will prefer to go in equity instrument. So I think depending on your goals, if शॉर्ट टर्म गोल का आपने ऑलरेडी पास कर लिया है, रिजर्व फंड अपना बना लिया है जो आपको 6 मंथ 7 मंथ का रनअवे दे देगा, समथिंग यू डोंट हैव टू पुल आउट द मार्केट ऑन शॉर्ट नोटिस, एंड यू इन्वेस्टिंग ओनली लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल इनटू मार्केट, इट विल गिव यू इनफ बफर सो दैट यू डोंट हैव टू एग्जिट। जहाँ आपने वो पोजीशन ले ली कि इफ देयर इज एनी आपका दाल रोटी से खानी है, वो पैसा आपने मार्केट में लगा दिया है, 10% नीचे जाएगा, आपके हाथ पैर फूल जाएंगे। डेट इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स फॉर शॉर्ट टर्म, long term के लिए, I think for me probably all I have spoken about probably is more focused on long term rather than short term. That's why I spoken more about the markets, not about the debt. I think it's part of your journey, the goal, your age. I think people, if you are relatively young, younger than me, at least in 30s, probably you should be all hog on market. It's a long journey for you. You will get the multipliers.
सो काफ़ी इन्वेस्टमेंट की बात हुई, काफ़ी अच्छे एक्सपीरियंस की अच्छे और बुरे दोनों एक्सपीरियंसेस की बात हुई। ऑन अ पर्सनल फ्रंट, व्हाट्स योर मेंटल मॉडल, हाउ सॉर्टेड आर यू?
How sorted I am means how I think.
Yeah.
Or psychologically,
Yeah.
I'm messed up. I think I have some beliefs, and there are some crazy beliefs also on the extreme side, and I have some beliefs in life, some beliefs in investments. One of my crazy belief is when I studied back in school, Ati Anigraha. Ati Anigraha in Sanskrit means that you should not have ati or excess of anything in your house. So my wardrobe will always have no more than 5 or 6 shirts, no more than a couple of jackets, whatever I minimally require. That is how I follow. If I buy a new shirt, the previous shirt, even if it's iron one, the one I don't wear for 15-20 days, I will go out and give it to someone who can better utilize it. So I think that everything in your house, it should find the best utility in the society. If something is losing its margin of utility for you, you should just give it to someone who can utilize it. That is how I think individually. It gives me peace.
You keep going to the meetings, you've given lectures in IIT recently. So how do you manage time, doing all this and still carrying on with your investment while managing the kids at home?
No, I think I read this almanac of Naval Ravikant. I think if I'm getting the name right. I took some cues. It led to some fight at home at times. But I think he said that you put a value on your time. And give a very absurd value to your time. High value. You say that my 1 hour is $1 million.
Okay.
And if any, I don't remember the number, but like that.
Yeah.
So if anything task I'm doing, if it's not that much amount, I will not do it. So I'm not a person. I'm not a person who lives a luxurious lifestyle. I'm not a person who is very finicky about not spending. I want to live life. I enjoy my life. I am ready to spend. I have seen time where I've done 3 international holidays with the family in a year, and now I've not done single international travel for different reasons with family for last few years. But I love to travel. I love to enjoy. I love to stay in nice hotels. If you ask me to stay in a maybe a luxury hotel, asking for 1 lakh, no matter how much money I have, I will never have the courage to stay in those hotels which ask for that much money. It never a value for money for me. I think I try to find the value. Probably I'm a value person. I find value in whatever I'm investing in, whatever I'm purchasing in, and if something is of diminishing value to me, I try to find someone who can find value in it.
What a wonderful experience of this podcast. On screen, off screen, कितनी बातें हुई, बहुत मजा आया पॉडकास्ट करने में, बहुत सारी लर्निंग मिली. आई एम श्योर आप लोगों को भी बहुत लर्निंग मिली होंगी. जो आपको बेस्ट लर्निंग मिली, प्लीज कमेंट सेक्शन में लिखना मत भूलिएगा. एंड यस, आई हैव शेयर्ड अ लिंक in this with this video जहां आप अपनी डिटेल्स भर के हमसे कांटेक्ट कर सकते हैं if you are interested to share your financial journey with this world. एंड जाने से पहले एज यूजुअल अगर आपने लाइक और शेयर अभी तक नहीं किया है तो भाई प्रेस करो और शेयर करो, लाइक करो, सब्सक्राइब तो आई होप कर ही दिया होगा.